Greetings! Today I want to speak about ego death. We hear a lot about ego death, and even the word death is threatening to someone, but it is actually just a word for our programming to let it just go away, because it gives us so many triggers. It gives us perspective that very often isn't beneficial, because perspective is crucial when you know what perspective you choose. There are millions of perspectives. There are as many perspectives as we are people. And if we hold too hard on our perspective, that's why we start to argue and a lot of war actually start. So what will be beneficial for us is to expand our perspective and identity, and that's when the ego death comes in. And I started in December 2024, I started Divine Mass. I hold the Mass every Sunday, and Divine Mass, the intention of Divine Mass was to show that I don't know how many different religion and tradition I went into, maybe 20 different religion and tradition I went into, to show that almost all tradition and religion speak about the same. So we argue, oh, my religion is better than yours, my tradition is better than yours. But if you go to the core, to the essence of most of the religion and tradition, they speak about the same, about how to adjust to Mother Earth and the sky, the divine being of us and the earthly thing. So the core of almost all religion and tradition says the same. So the intention of Divine Mass when I did this, it was to show that what we are talking about is the same, but we are using different words. In Buddhism, we use this word. In Christianity, we use this word. In shamanism, we use this word. In Hinduism, we use this word. So I wanted to show listeners that we are talking about the same. We don't need to argue. We are brothers and sisters. So that was my intention. And a year ago, I spoke about the ego death, and I spoke from 4 of my ego death. I have been to so many ego deaths. So this is just the introduction to these 4. So in the following, I will share my 4 of my ego deaths. And the intention of it is so that you can think in your life, where is my ego death? How has my changing and this ego death path already started in me? Can I see it? Can I get any tools for it? So I share my story because I know that it is universal. All of us are going through it because we are all being programmed. So look at your own story. So I share my story with the intention of you understanding more in your life, because the spiritual, when you say yes to go to the hero's journey and to the spiral of grace, the spiritual life becomes physical. So the ego death is physical. A part of me actually died. The person I was in 2013, I'm not that person anymore. So I started to die in 2013. And a lot of people started to die in 2020. COVID actually was the first wave of ego death, and it has come several. So it depends where you live, and if you really need to kind of be pushed into very dense and down before you kind of, okay, this really tried to tell me something, because all that happens in our life is actually trying to tell us something. Sickness is a message. Sickness is a language. It's telling us where we have suppressed energy. So we have now a window and a big opening. The background frequency is helping us so much. So this is a gift from me, so that you can start to reflect about the ego death that is happening in your life. And if you resist, of course, we can resist everything, but it will happen. So if you resist, it will just take longer time and it will be harder. So the most beneficial to do is to say, even though you don't understand it, because It happened a lot in my life and I didn't understand it. But each time I could say, I don't understanding, but I surrender. Then it went faster, even though it was painful. So then after a while, then I got the insight. So it is not, when we are in the dark night of the soul and the ego death, it's not that we see with a higher perspective there and then, because we are in the ego death. But when we have gone through it, we say, oh, that's what happened then. That's what happened. So after I went through my dark night of the soul for almost 6 years, then wow, I didn't have all the theory. But afterwards, it's like, wow, that was that. But because it was so much, I had it very hard. But I had already, my soul had said yes to it, because my soul path was to go some years in front of others so that I could teach you how to open more in synchronize and come more in harmony, because your medicine is inside you, how you can come in contact with your medicine. So I won't go into that story, but I seeked my own medicine and went to a lot of doctors and therapists, and I became more ill. So it was all the times when I went inward and find my own medicine. The doctor couldn't help me. So, and I know that this is the case for most of you. If you listen to this, this is the case in your life. So I want to help you to activate your medicine. And also in week 1 and week 2, it is 25% with one-to-one mentoring with Ann-Peggy, and also 66% of the module of the hero's journey, and also the spiral of grace. So here is the video of 4 of my ego death. The first story is from my work in the health system in a treatment measure for 7 days, 24/7. I work with people that are in crisis and are acting out. So it was a lot of violence, a lot of fear, a lot of heavy stuff, a lot of policemen, a lot of security, and 24/7 just watching them, and it was a lot of acting out. And after being in this in 7 days, my back started to say, okay, this is too much. You have been into this for 7 days, and I had absorbed a lot of energy. I'm highly sensitive and empath, taking it in. So when I went off duty, suddenly I just fell down. It's like my feet couldn't hold me anymore. So, and I went into crucial pain. So I had been in this kind of survival, because it was survival. It was so much acting out and death threat and hard times. And then my body said, this is too much. It was kind of an energy attack. If you stand in this for 7 days, 24/7, it can be much on you. And I went into crucial pain. I couldn't do anything. So I laid on my couch, had so much pain, and I called the doctor, I called the acupuncture and everyone, but they didn't have time, and I was crying because it was so painful. And I was in this pain for a day, and I called more doctors and more acupuncture. I just, please give me one that can help me come out of this pain. And then it was kind of a guiding, you have within you to release the pain. And I knew it, but when you are exhausted, I have experienced that sometimes I forget, and this is several years ago, and I hadn't integrated my healing ability that strong. It was like, okay, it was there. So it was kind of, that was a separate life, but when I was in duty, I kind of almost forgot. So I was kind of guided, you can heal yourself. And then I was guided to the beach, and I used an hour to go to the beach, even though it was very near, because I had so much pain, and I bit my teeth like, because it was so painful. And then I lay down on the beach, and I was alone. There were no people there. And then I opened, I said, okay, heal me. And I said, Mother Earth, heal me, help me, bring all the grace and all the light. And then the light came into me and all my pain fell away. The ego, all the fear, all the layers, all the energy, it was lifted off me. And this is kind of an ego that I have absorbed a lot of others' ego. Being in this for 7 days, in this treatment and this acting out and violence and police and everything, most of the people were so afraid. I absorbed all this ego and all this fear, even though I was calm standing in it, because I was calm this 7 days. I wasn't afraid. A lot of people was afraid, but I wasn't afraid. But I absorbed their ego and I took it into my system, and that's why it was cruciating after I finished it. And then I healed it and I let it go. So this is one aspect of ego death. So I opened up to the healing so all the ego death could go. And I have used myself as a portal, healing the ego that I have absorbed from other, because we help each other, and this is one of my strengths. And since I'm bringing this in, I want to share another episode, and this was in a retreat. I was in a retreat for 4 days, and the first day we were only 7 person, yeah, and the rest we were 20. But the first day we kind of connect, and we did a special ceremony, and we was invited to heal Mother Earth. And I opened my portal, kind of, okay, I was willing, all of us went into this ceremony together. And when I go into ceremony, I open to the unknown. I never know what comes through, but it can be ego. And this time it was kind of a lot of ego came in through me. So I opened my portal to this ceremony, as all of us did. And what came through me was so many women crying, so much sorrow, so much devastation. It's like I have never experienced it before or after. I opened a portal and it lasted for almost an hour. And all the people around me, they just listened to me. They were in the ceremony and all of them said, "You cried for me. You cried for my mother. You cried for my brother." Because all of us had experienced loss and hard things, and I cried for everyone. And all the voices that come through me, it was so many different voices. It was desperate crying, and it was heartfelt crying. It was all the facets of crying. And I was so surprised myself, because I opened the portals to all this ego to kind of release all the sorrow that we are carrying. It was ugly and it was nice. It was all the emotion in all these cries. And one of the participants, a man, he thought it was so hard to listen to all this cry, because they were really heartfelt and deep. You could feel it with every bone in your existence. So he went out of the ceremony and went to another room, because he said this was intense, and I felt your cry so intense that I had to protect myself. So this was a deep ego death, not only for myself, but I opened me as a portal, as is my strength. And then so many ego cried and cried and cried, all the suppression of our ego that we hold. So, and I have all the witness that were in this ceremony, but I have thought afterwards I should have this on recording, because all the voices that come through me, and they were so different, and my body went with all this crying. So I was and I went into a trance. So I opened my portal and I became all this, more than 100. I didn't count, so I should have counted. Between hundreds, 200, 300, I'd have no idea how many that came through this hour. But it was many. So ego death, it can be, so we also, as I don't know if a lot of people have spoken about that, we can help each other with the ego death. So both of this first is like, I have helped other with ego death, but I also had my own ego death. And this is the third story. And this was actually in Peru. It was my last bit of my ego death as I saw it, because I had been in so many ego death for myself when I transformed to the dark night of the soul. But in 2018, this was kind of the last bit. After that, I opened my heart, and my life have never been the same after the end of 2018. I was in Peru for a month, and this month was an initiation. It was an initiation to the one I am today. I have had a lot of initiation, but this was also ego death. And for a week, from Monday to Friday, we went up to the Andes mountain. We were between 4,500 and 5,000 meters above sea. So I got this altitude sickness. I had never experienced altitude sickness, and it feels like there are no oxygen. You cannot breathe. So it's like you breathe and breathe, but there's no oxygen. So for Monday to Friday, this period, it was like, I want oxygen, but there are no. And I borrowed a friend's, he had oxygen tank on him. So I borrowed it every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But Thursday, when Thursday came, it was like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. I have to surrender. I had to surrender my ego. My ego really fight for survival. So that was really a big ego death. It's like I really fought for my survival. And when Thursday came, it's like, okay, I'm prepared to die. My ego is prepared to die. And it feels, when your ego dies, it feels like you actually are dying for real. So I have had so many ego deaths, and it feels like you are dying. So I said goodbye to the life I knew. I said goodbye to my children. I said goodbye to my husband. I said goodbye to my mother, to my friends, to my cousin, to my everything that I knew. I said goodbye. And it was a heartfelt goodbye. It was like saying goodbye for real. So I did this Thursday, and this night, I remember it was full moon. It was full moon, and I was surrendering, and it's like, okay. And then I started to breathe in a new way, with trust, with ease. And it was like I met another layer of me that came from trust, from the light, from the higher aspect of me, from my divine design. And I cried a lot because, wow, it was stillness, it was peace. I had surrender, completely surrender. And when I came to this Friday, we were supposed to go down from this mountain. I was exhausted. It felt like I had no energy inside me because I had really fought for my survival Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday I kind of surrendered. So I was so drained, and I cried and I cried. I remember said to the other in the group, you can go before me, I will go behind you, everything is okay. I needed to go back all the other people because we were several people. And I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. And I had a horse because we had horses with us because it was a long walk. And I cried with my horse, and I cried because it was happy tears and it was exhausting tears. It was everything. It was a release. So I had gone through an ego death, and it was a release from all the pain, all that I have lived with for 40 years, my pain body. So I released my pain body and the survival, and always trying to protect, being in the head and everything. So this ego death was one of the longest. Well, one of the longest. I have had so many, but I wanted to point out this ego death on the Andes, and I was so supported by the Andes mountain, and my surroundings supported me through this ego death. And before that, I had actually been to a retreat in the Andes jungle, so I was kind of initiated to the Andes jungle the weekend before, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then Monday we went up to the Andes. So all of this month in Peru in 2018 was kind of a big initiation leading up to this ego death on the mountain. But I want you to understand that ego death, it is hard. It is giving up your identity, giving up your pattern, giving up your family, your relationship, all the life that you know. So it is a completely surrender, a surrender to your divine light, to the unknown. You start to live in the unknown field like I do now. Now I embrace the unknown. I love the unknown. I never know what happened. I'm open. I have become the portal that I have used myself as a portal for several occasion ceremonies, but now I feel like I have moved into being a portal every day if this is what Mother Earth and the higher aspect want me to do. So I kind of embrace my gift. I have said yes to become this portal, and being a portal is the same as living in the unknown. And even though you maybe go to an ego death, you are maybe not a portal, but it is also shown me that all humans are now invited to become a portal. This is our multi-dimensional abilities. We have so many gifts. We can travel in consciousness, we can talk with other spirits, and we can help each other with the ego death. And I communicate with other souls, and I become a portal for whatever wants to come true. But it is also sometimes hard on my body. Like I said in the first example, my body kind of just fell down after being 7 days in this cruciating situation. So I also need to take care of this temple and this portal, because this body is my portal and I open it to whatever comes in. And I have also learned to protect it, because it can come also dark energy if I allow. I was invited actually a month ago to a dark portal, and I said no, because I know that I will feel it in my body. So it's like, no. So we are, all of us, if you are listening to this, you are invited to become a portal. And becoming a portal means that you can open up to whatever you want to open up to. You choose. But it is good to kind of, okay, you experience, you feel it in your body. And this is a part of the ego death, because when the ego have died, this is the gift, and you can choose what you want to experience. I choose, and I have chosen to be an instrument for others, to be a medicine woman. And now I will speak about the fourth example, and it was during one of my initiation that also I went to the shamanic path. I was in a shamanic training, and it was for a week, and we were in tents. It's like Lavo, the Sami tent. We were living in the Sami tent for a week out in the nature. I was in a place called Rondane. And this week we had this small death. It was called the small death. It was kind of preparing us for the big death, when we actually, our ego really surrender. But I want to say what happened in the small death, because this was kind of the preparance, and that at that period I had excruciating back pain. So that has been my old me, had excruciating pain. I have lived with a pain body for 40 years. And in this week, I fell down. I kind of surrendered my pain because it was so excruciating. So I cried a lot. I couldn't stand because it was so painful. So I just bent forward and said, I cannot take this anymore. I cannot take this anymore. I cannot carry this pain anymore. It was so hard. And then it was my time to go into the small death. And when I went into the small death, all the groups, all this class that we had were around me. I was in the middle, and I was supposed to travel in consciousness, and then they would hold the field. This was guided from a shaman. And I had never done this before, so it was like, okay, what will happen? But we had the instruction. And then I closed my eyes, and then the first thing that happened, I went out of my body. A lot of us have heard about near-death experience. This is like the near-death experience, but you are not in that. I was conscious, I was awake. So they hold the field, and I travel out of my body. And the first thing that met me was my son Alexander, because he had just committed suicide, and my grandmother. This was the two persons I really longed for, and they took my hand, one in each of my hand, my son and my grandmother, and it was entering heaven on earth. This was the small ego death, and I went into heaven. It's like, wow, I went out of my body. I didn't feel any pain anymore. It was so amazing being in this heaven on earth. And I communicated with my son, and I said how much I love him, I miss him, and the same with my grandmother. And I was in this field. I don't know, because when you are in this field, you lose time and space. You are beyond time and space. But being here, it was so amazing. And then the group and the shaman on the earth kind of said, you have to come down. They started to said, come down, come back. And I said, I will not go back to earth. Why would I go back to that pain? Being here, I have no pain. Being with you, grandmother, being with you, son, I want to be here. I love you. And it was so amazing being out of my ego, because I was totally out of my ego and the pain body that I have lived with for 40 years. But then my grandmother said, Ann-Peggy, your time is not over. You have a mission and you have said yes to it. It will happen in the blink of an eye, but you have to go down back to your body. And I'm here, you know, you have met us, so you just have a short period and then we will meet again. And it was like, no, but she said that, and because all the ones that said, come back, I didn't want to listen to them. They kind of, their wanting me to come back wasn't enough. It was my grandmother that her heart felt. It's like her comforting and said, this is an area, you come back to this. It is here forever, and I'm here forever. Now you have an experience. You know that we are here. Now go back into your body fully again. And then I did it because I have seen kind of my grandma as my God. I loved her. She have always witnessed me as in my bigness. So she was the most significant person on earth when she lived. She still is in this realm. But when I went down into my body, the first thing that happened was like, oh, wow, all the pain back in my body. And I said, oh no, I don't want to live with this pain body. But it was an ego death. And it was kind of showing me that this is also my gift. I can show other people that we can move out of our pain body. The pain body is our ego. So many people say that I don't want to live anymore. Someone wants to commit suicide, but what they want to go through is the ego death. It is the mind that are programmed. So this last story show us in a very good way that it is our ego that are programmed. And what we are longing for is to open ourselves, to surrender to the light within, to the divine design. Because what meets us is our divine design, the essence of us that wants to shine and bloom. And it is a portal. You live as a portal, and this is heaven on earth. So I hope that you can learn something from this 4 episode, because when I made this mass, it was this 4 episode that came through me, and I thought, okay, my head tried to think, is this the best ego death, because I have had so many, but this was the one that kind of showed itself to me, and I said, okay, I will share this 4 story. So I live in the trust field and with my divine design. So I hope that you can have some aspect of my story to take in your life, because everything I have gone through is showing me this is a gift to all of us. It is an invitation. We can open to this. We can open to our ego death. And if we say yes, we can say yes. And it will happen in our surrounding. It will be hard. It's never pleasant. But if you say yes, you are invited to it. And when you have gone through your ego death, the life on the other side, it is heaven and earth. And I want this gift for everyone, because this is what I have really longed for. And I know that deep inside you, you are longing for this, you also. So, when the ego dies, what remains is not emptiness, but eternity. Not the rush of time, but the stillness of being. This is the quiet miracle of the resurrection within.